the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
We are the defenders.
Yeah.
We are the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
We are the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
This class right here is for unbelief. This class right here is for you and me. This class right here means everything. Everything that an Israelite needs to be. This class right here is for unbelief. This class right here is for you and me. This class right here means everything. Everything that an Israelite needs to be.
No one told us life could get this hard. Everybody failed except the Lord. When I feel like I ain't coming through, I see these issues don't apply to you. Had to change my path, change my ways. All of this heart attack don't last always. The most I make us kings to serve as slaves. I'ma be an Israelite to the grave.
We are the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
We are the defenders.
Yeah.
We are the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
We are the defenders.
We are defenders of Zion.
All right. Shalom. Most High in Christ bless. Happy Day of Atonement. All right. To everybody that is tuning in. All right. Tonight's topic is domestic violence. All right. When you look at domestic violence in general, this is a very serious topic. And if you are being abused, all right, you need to call the police, okay? Let that be known. This is the first thing that's being said, okay? A lot of times you may hear about a relationship with domestic violence, but most of the time it's being talked about. There's not a police report. There's not any seriousness so far as you going to the authorities, okay? You have to understand that these things are not okay. And most of the time when you think about domestic violence, you think about the man being violent. But you have to understand that this happens on both sides, okay? You have women that are abusing men, and a lot of times it's looked at as a joke. But these things need to be taken care of, okay? The Bible does not tell you to stick around to get your head busted, okay? Understand that. You know, before we pull any scriptures, let it be known. The Bible does not teach you to stick around when your head is being busted. That is not keeping God's commandments, and that is not love according to the Bible, okay? Before we get into that, let's go to Leviticus chapter 16 and verse 34.
The book of Leviticus, chapter 16 and verse 34. And this shall be an everlasting statute unto you, to make an atonement for the children of Israel.
So make an atonement for the children of Israel. So this is what we in. We are in the Day of Atonement. We are almost at the closeout. We're about an hour and a half away from being done with our fast, okay? We know that you are afflicted, but hang in there. It's almost over, okay? This is being done because we are asking the Lord for forgiveness for our sins as we forgive our people. Okay, come on.
For all their sins, once a year.
Once a year, you have the Day of Atonement. Come on.
And he did as the Lord commanded Moses.
And he did as the Lord commanded Moses. So in the past, we had the priesthood, and now you are a priesthood, meaning that you have to offer up spiritual sacrifices. Okay. Now let's go to the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 9, because you have to understand something. If you are in a abusive relationship, you should not be going around talking about, the Day of Atonement, all is forgiven. No, that's not the way this whole thing works. And we're gonna show some things, but you have to have an understanding that the Bible does not condone violence in this aspect. Okay, bring that out.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 9.
Mm-hmm.
Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry.
Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. Let's see why. Come on.
For anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
Anger resteth in the bosom of fools. So what this means is that there's nothing wrong with someone being angry about a situation. But then it said anger rests in the bosom of fools. That means that people allow their anger to turn into sin. You can allow your anger to turn into sin. This is why it's telling you that anger is resting in the bosom of a fool, because he's activating off of his emotions. She's activating off of her emotions. And this is the number one thing that causes our people to be in the midst of this sin, is their anger. Now, the Bible teaches a beginning to everything. Okay? When it comes down to obeying the commandments, you go back to the beginning. Okay, let's go to Exodus chapter 20. Exodus chapter 20 and verse 12.
The book of Exodus, chapter 20 and verse 12.
Mm-hmm.
Honor thy father and thy mother,
Mm-hmm.
that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee.
So it say, honor thy father and thy mother, right? This commandment right here is set in place because it's supposed to teach you some respect about how to grow as an adult. Okay? You look as a man, you look at your father, and your father teaches you ways and proverbs and different methods to grow you into a man. Okay? You look at your mother, and what you're supposed to be seeing is what you see in a wife. You're supposed to be learning what nurturing is. You're supposed to be learning what being feminine is. You're supposed to be learning what an Israelite woman looks like, right? This is why you honor your father and your mother, because they're the ones that's standing by you and showing you how to conduct yourself, right? Let's go to Sirach. You have to start seeing, even in the 10 Commandments, those 10 Commandments contain the law. Okay? You have to understand, they contain the law. You may not see it yet, but you start to understand the simplest of the commandments mean a lot. Okay? Let's go to Sirach chapter 3. Sirach chapter 3. And verse 16.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 3 and verse 16.
Mm-hmm.
He that forsaketh his father is as a blasphemer,
Uh-huh.
and he that angereth his mother is cursed of God.
And he that angereth his mother is cursed of God. So when you are angering your mother, what you're doing is you're provoking her. You are actively participating in a behavior that is disrespectful. Okay? This is why you see these things start at a younger age, man. And then as you grow and you begin to be set in your disrespectful ways, these things carry over into the relationship. But it all starts with how you treat your father and your mother. Right? This is why when you read in Genesis, it tell you that you leave your father and your mother and you cleave unto your spouse. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. Back to Ecclesiastes chapter 7. And let's read verse 26.
The book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 26.
Mm-hmm.
And I find more bitter than death the woman, whose heart is snares and nets, and her hands as bands.
So this woman right here is saying, I find more bitter than death this woman, okay, whose heart is snares and nets. She's laying down a trap. She's not trying to build her household. She's tearing it down. Okay, come on.
Whoso pleaseth God.
Whoso pleaseth God, come on.
Shall escape from her.
Shall escape from her. They're going to get away from her. Come on.
But the sinner shall be taken by her.
The sinner is going to be taken by these snares and by these nets, by her traps, by her disrespectful behavior. Okay. This is why we're saying this goes both ways. So on a man's side, if the woman is doing these things, if the woman is displaying this domestic violence, the Bible is telling you to escape from her. It goes the same way on the other end. If the man is conducting himself in this matter, you as a woman, if you please God, you will escape from him. You have to understand that. And let me say this too, man. You got people, you got especially sisters that will reach out to you and tell you, these things, this and that is happening in the household. If you your sister's keeper or, your brother's keeper, you have to help them, okay? If they need to get out of that house and find somewhere to stay, you're supposed to be helping them. This is why it's important for you to be a part of a congregation, for you to be amongst like-minded people that want to do what's right, man. Because a lot of people don't know the law. They don't understand how righteous God's commandments are. Right? You're supposed to help them get away, okay? Let's go to Deuteronomy real quick. Chapter 23. This is for the people that have heard these things, okay? This is the type of spirit that you're supposed to be in. If somebody call you with something like this, such and such been putting his hands on me. I'm trying to leave. I need to get out of here. Can you help me? What type of spirit do you think you need to be in? Are you going to be that sister or brother talking about just hang in there? Submit yourself to your husband? No, man. Deuteronomy 23 and verse 15.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 23 and verse 15. Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee.
Thou shalt not deliver unto his master the servant which is escaped from his master unto thee. If somebody is escaping from, especially their husband, because they've been beating on them, you're not supposed to go and, your wife over here, she say you've been beating on her, need to come get her. No, man. You're not supposed to deliver that servant that's being put in this situation, man. Come on.
Verse 16. He should dwell with thee, even among you, in that place which he shall choose in one of thy gates, where it liketh him best. Thou shalt not oppress him.
Thou shalt not oppress him. Obviously, the reason that they're trying to escape is because they are being oppressed. It's because they are being treated wrongfully, right? So if somebody is reaching out to you, you need to help your people, man. You need to help your people, right? This is a problem if you don't understand the spirit behind the scripture. Okay. Let's go to chapter 22. Deuteronomy 22 and verse 25.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Then the man only that lay with her shall die. Because you have a misconception where people think that rape is okay. It's not okay. Okay, what you reading right here in the Bible, in the commandments that you say you believe in, is if a man is raping a woman, he is supposed to be put to death. This is not a joke. Read that from the top.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 22 and verse 25. But if a man find a betrothed damsel in the field, and the man force her, and lie with her, then the man only that lay with her shall die.
Let's go to 1 Corinthians chapter 7. Right. 1 Corinthians chapter 7. And let's read verse 1.
The book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 7 and verse 1. Now concerning the things whereof ye wrote unto me, it is good for a man not to touch a woman.
Right, it's good for a man not to touch a woman. Come on.
Nevertheless, to avoid fornication.
To avoid fornication. Right, come on.
Let every man have his own wife, and let every woman have her own husband. Let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence, and likewise also the wife unto the husband.
Right. So it say, let the husband render unto the wife due benevolence. Okay. This word benevolence is not sex. This word benevolence is talking about kindness. That's what this word benevolence means. Now, of course, intercourse is a part of it. But this word means kindness. Come on.
Verse 4. The wife had not power of her own body, but the husband. And likewise, also the husband have not power of his own body, but the wife.
Right. This is talking about intercourse, okay, specifically. Okay, if you're married, it's supposed to happen. Okay, come on.
Defraud ye not one the other, except it be with consent for a time.
So notice that it has consent in the Bible. What is consent? Permission. So listen, it's saying defraud ye not one the other. So you ain't supposed to be holding this back. So what you reading about in Deuteronomy about that rape, that's not even supposed to be happening amongst husband and wife. It's not supposed to be happening. Come on.
That ye may give yourselves to fasting.
So the only time that the Bible is saying you're not supposed to be doing this is fasting. Come on.
And prayer. And come together again. That Satan tempt you not for your inconsistency.
So now, Satan can come in because your spouse's needs are not being met. All right. Now, I was about to say something, but I'm not, because that ain't what this is about. Move on. Let's keep going.
Verse 6. But I speak this by permission, and not of commandment.
So now, Paul is about to give you some godly advice, right? Come on.
For I would that all men were even as I myself.
So What he's saying is that all men were even as himself. He's a single man. So he's saying, I would that men just be single and push the truth. Come on.
But every man hath his proper gift of God. One after this manner, and another after that.
One after this manner, and another after that. So every man have his proper gift. It may be your gift to be a deacon. A deacon can be the husband of one wife. That may be your gift to be in that position. It may be your position to be a bishop. Right? Come on.
I say therefore, to the unmarried and widows, it is good for them if they abide, even as I. But if they cannot contain, let them marry. For it is better to marry than to burn.
It is better to marry than to be burnt in lust. Right? Come on.
And unto the married I command, yet not I, but the Lord. Let not the wife depart from her husband.
Let not the wife depart from her husband. Come on.
But, and if she depart, let her remain unmarried, or be reconciled to her husband. And let not the husband put away his wife.
So now, what this is telling you, it says, but and if she depart, let her remain unmarried or be reconciled to her husband. This right here is separation. Okay? If you are in an abusive relationship, you need to separate yourself. Okay? You need to separate yourself. Now, of course, you can receive forgiveness and repentance for violence. Right? But you don't need to be simple and put yourself in a situation where you're getting beat up. You're going around, you're trying to hide it. You need to leave. You need to separate yourself, because that is what pleases God. There's a misconception going on where people think, oh, I have to be submissive, so I have to stick around for me getting my head busted. And that is not the case, man. That's what this whole class is about. You need to get up out of there. Understand that. This is not something that, you just jump over. Nah, let's go to 1 Timothy chapter 3.
The book of 1 Timothy, chapter 3.
And verse 2.
Verse 2. A bishop then must be blameless.
A bishop then must be blameless. Come on.
The husband of one wife. Vigilant. Sober. Of good behavior.
Of good behavior. Come on.
Given to hospitality. Apt to teach.
Apt to teach. Come on.
Not given to wine. No striker.
No what?
No striker.
No striker. Okay? Highlight that word striker. No striker. That's an issue, man. How you supposed to be put in a position or stand as a righteous man of the Lord and you throwing bows? Come on now. You can't be a righteous example putting your hands on your spouse, man. Right? Let's go to Sirach. Sirach chapter 4. And let's read verse 30.
The book of Sirach, or Ecclesiasticus, chapter 4 and verse 30. Be not as a lion in the house.
Be not as a lion in thy house. Come on.
Nor frantic among thy servants.
Nor frantic among thy servants, man. Frantic is another word for you, acting crazy, abusing your authority. Okay, you being frantic among your servants. Now, what we just read in Deuteronomy is it saying that if a servant come to you, escape from their master, You're not supposed to return them or tell the master. You're supposed to bring them in. They supposed to stay with you. Understand that. But it's saying, be not as a lion in thy house, man. What happened if you take a wild and just put him in your living room? He gonna tear it up. He's going to tear your house up. The Bible is telling you to not be that lion in the house, man. Oh, you burnt my toast. Yo, that's a lion. You going around, big and over aggressive. And a lot of these brothers that do this, they don't have this same type of attitude towards another man. And that's the issue about it. I got a word for you, but I'm not going to say it. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is weak. It's effeminate. You are putting your hands on a weaker vessel. Right? It's an issue. The Bible say, be not as a lion. Right, let's go to Deuteronomy 28. Deuteronomy 28 and verse 54.
The book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28 and verse 54. Mm-hmm. So that the man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eye shall be evil toward his brother.
So this right here, this is a curse that's put on our people. It's telling you that this effeminate man, tender and delicate, his eye is going to be evil towards his brother. He's going to have that hatred. It's going to rest in his bosom, meaning it's going to bring forth sin. Come on.
And toward the wife of his bosom.
And toward his wife. So now, you got this man that's very effeminate. He's got all this anger in his soul, in his bosom, because at the end of the day, he wasn't keeping that first commandment with promise. This stuff started from the home, okay? This man, when you look at this man that's doing these things, look at the way he treats his mother. Focus on the way he treats his mother, because when you really watch him, it may be a nice thing on the outside, but as you begin to watch them, you begin to see the disrespect and the hatred. Right? But you have to understand, the Bible is telling you that this is a wicked man. This is a curse. This man is going to be evil to his wife. How are you evil to your wife? You teach him with your fingers, man. Right? Come on.
And toward the remnant of his children, which he shall leave.
Which he shall leave. This is where you get all that baby daddy, baby mama drama from. It starts right here in the curses, man. It starts right here. The Bible is telling you right here. This is where this stuff stems from. Right? Let's go back to Proverbs 6. Proverbs chapter 6 and verse 12.
Book of Proverbs, chapter 6 and verse 12. Mm-hmm. A naughty person, a wicked man.
A wicked man, come on.
Walketh with a forward mouth.
Walketh with a forward mouth, man. Come on.
He winked with his eyes.
He winketh with his eyes. Come on.
He speaketh with his feet.
He speaketh with his feet. How do you speak with your feet? You trying to teach somebody a lesson. That's what that means. When they say he speaketh with his feet, put teaching a lesson. Come on.
He teacheth with his fingers.
He teacheth with his fingers, man. So you think kicking somebody is teaching them a lesson. You think punching somebody is teaching them how to be. You think kicking and punching is a way to put your wife in a submissive position. Submissive position. You wrong, brother. what you're doing is very weak and effeminate, and you hate your own people. And quite frankly, you hate yourself first and foremost. Because when you hitting your wife, what you doing is you hating yourself, man. Let's go to Ephesians. Ephesians 5 and verse 28.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 5 and verse 28. Mm-hmm. So ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. Mm-hmm. He that loveth his wife loveth himself. Uh-huh. For no man ever yet hated his own flesh, uh-huh, but nourisheth and cherisheth it, even as the Lord the church.
So it says, so ought men to love their wives as their own bodies. He that loveth his wife loveth himself, man. So you ain't going around punching and kicking and smacking yourself. So why you doing it to your spouse? I mean, at the end of the day, you cannot say that you in this truth, but you're not following this, man. You're not keeping this. And you know the whole I'm sorry thing is not cutting it, man. It's really not cutting it, man. How many times you gonna... The real question is, how many times you gonna let this man smack you upside the head before you say, okay, I'm leaving, I'm out? That's the real question. Because the Bible say you supposed to escape from that if you please God. But the sinner is gonna be taken in that trap, man. A trap is when somebody your eye black and your lip busted, and you sitting there listening to, I'm sorry, baby, you know I'll never do it again. Yo, you falling right into that snare. You need to escape from that, man. Right? Colossians chapter 3. Colossians chapter 3 and verse 19.
The book of Colossians, chapter 3
and read verse 18.
Verse 18. Mm-hmm. Wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands, uh-huh, as it is fit in the Lord.
As it is fit in the Lord. You should have as it is fit in the Lord highlighted, because what that means is the things that concern the truth, man. Things that are good. This ain't talking about being submissive when somebody teaching with their feet, man. Somebody teaching with their fingers, that ain't fit in the Lord. Catching a black eye ain't fit in the Lord. Bruises ain't fit in the Lord for your spouse. Right? Come on.
Husbands, love your wives, uh-huh, and be not bitter against them.
And be not bitter against them, man. You know, you already got anger in your bosom, but you're using that to apply it to sin. Right? Let's go to what's that? Ephesians 5. Let's go back there. What's that? 26. Is that it? 4 and 26.
The book of Ephesians, chapter 4 and verse 26. Mm-hmm. Be ye angry and sin not.
Be ye angry and sin not. That's the key part right there. Come on.
Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Let not the sun go down upon your wrath, man. It's okay for you to be angry, but when you activate your anger and put your hands on your wife, that's sin. That's breaking God's commandments. Right? Let's go back to that Ecclesiastes real quick. 7 and 9.
Book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7 and verse 9. Be not hasty in thy spirit to be angry. Mm-hmm. For anger resteth in the bosom of fools.
It say, for anger resteth in the bosoms of fools, man. So you have to ask yourself at the end of the day, are you a righteous man? Are you a holy Israelite? Or are you just a knowledgeable fool, man? That's a serious question, right? The book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 29.
The book of Acts chapter 5 and verse 29. Mm-hmm. Then Peter and the other apostles answered and said, we ought to obey God rather than men.
We're going to obey God rather than men every single day, man. If, your husband is putting his hands on you, you need to leave, okay? You need to call the police. And, people in Israel, they talk about, why you involving Esau and doing this and doing that. This ain't got nothing to do with involving Esau, okay? This is about you getting out of that situation. Because obviously, if somebody is doing this, they are not in the truth. They are not obeying the truth. And that is a problem. Okay? If this is happening, the point is you need to tell somebody. You need to reach out to your fathers. You need to reach out to your elders or whoever. This is not supposed to be a secret. Right, let's go real quick. Let's go back to Leviticus. Right. Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1.
The book of Leviticus chapter 5 and verse 1. Mm-hmm. And if a soul sin.
Come on.
And hear the voice of swearing.
Uh-huh.
And is a witness.
Uh-huh.
Whether he has seen or known of it.
Uh-huh.
If he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity.
If he do not utter it, then he shall bear his iniquity. That go for you too, sis. You need to speak up and say something. This is not supposed to be happening, and it's a big secret. This is a problem, and it needs to be addressed. Okay? Right? And with that, we say, shalom.